Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a Ball Over Passion podcast. Today, we'll be discussing the preview of the Wolves Arsenal game. I'm joined by the fellas. How we doing, boys?
Good, bro. Good, bro. Not too bad. No complaints, except I'm going to go into administration, fellas. I've got a big trip going on, and I think I'm down several K in this trip. It's not looking good. It's looking a little peak, but we move.
We move. All right, I think we'll go
It's your fault for being Canadian. What do you want to say?
I was going to say, just move to Europe, bro.
You know what's so weird is, really quickly, is because I've got an American passport as well, because I was born there. Whenever I fly into the States, I have to show my American passport, but I travel as a Canadian leaving. So I always come in there as an American to be like, my people. And then when I leave, I'm Canadian.
You're basically a reverse Ted Cruz. That's basically what you are.
Of course, because I got to keep that perception. If you travel as an American, you get treated differently. Facts.
Yeah, you do. I didn't know, but it's true.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Go on, Willow.
I did not know that George was a fake Canadian. I did not know
he
this.
is a fake Canadian, yes.
Wow.
Pseudo-Canadian, man. I got to keep it with the brand.
The pseudo. I'm moving swiftly on.
Before we do get started, just a quick announcement. We are live with the super chats. You can super chat in now. You can actually do that now, so that's kind of cool. If you do want to super chat and have a question, we'll answer your questions when we can. Either we'll do it at the end, or if it's with the question, if it's with the topic at the time, we'll answer at the time. So, yeah. Sorry, we'll go on, Willow. It's your time. Go for it.
Sorry, I forgot about the super chats. I'm not going to lie. So it's all new to us. Up BoP monetization, beautiful. Right, so into the predicted lineup, boys. So I'll go out goalkeeper Aaron Ramsdale.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going Ben White for right back because I don't think Tommy's going to be back yet, even though we're seeing him in training. Holding Gabriel, Tierney, the two DMs of Xhaka, Partey, front four of Saka, Ødegaard, Martinelli, and Lacazette. Anyone different with that?
I mean, not with what Mikel will probably do. So for that, it's definitely not something I would do. I'll be honest with you. Especially when you look at Wolves. We'll probably get into the tactics of it all later, but I really think that Emile Smith-Rowe is going to be very, very key to the Wolves' weakness. A big part of Wolves is that space between the wing backs and the third center back. And for me, while Martinelli, holds the width as it comes in, the biggest benefit that Emile does is a turn of pace in that corridor. And so for me, he becomes one of the most important people, along with Bukayo, in terms of really getting a positive result at the Molineux. So for me, it's probably what Mikel will do. It's not necessarily something I would do. But and just really quickly, Mush, Xhaka's back. He already served his 1-game suspension.
Corin, CK?
Yeah, I mean, I do think Tommy will come back, personally. I don't know if I went out for a second. My internet went a bit crazy. But I do think Tommy comes back because unless there's a re-injury, because Mikel did mention that it was a recurring injury in that area. Unless there was a re-injury, I don't really understand where it would go. And it's not a 3-game suspension. No, it's a 2-game suspension. 1 for the red card and 1 for the
because he already got one.
Red card. He already got one, right? It's not a 3-game.
Yeah, he already got.
It wasn't dangerous conduct. So no 3-game, 2 games. He's back. We got Xhaka back. There you go. I would expect Tommy to be back personally. Calf injuries are a bit annoying because again it's a soft muscle injury and it's a case of week by week, and you have to see where the strength and the muscle is and the performance. So we'll see. But for me, I would expect to see him back personally. What do you think, Chris?
I think because he did speak about him and I did hear his name and stuff, but they are not putting him in the pictures. They've done that before with Ben White and stuff. I do hope he plays because I really don't want to see Cedric. But I can't predict what Arteta does. He's a very turbulent. He's very turbulent with his selection that time when it comes to injury. So I think if it goes my way, I'd pick him. I'd want him to start versus him.
I think we all want him to start. It's
Yeah,
an
we
easy
want
reaction.
him to
We
do
don't
it.
want
Yeah,
to-
we
I think
want
we
him.
all want him
to
to
start.
start.
I think it's very easy to replace him in the bad scenario in a sense where it's like, look, if he plays, he plays. I think everybody wants that. I don't think that's ever debated. The big thing for me is just medically, it doesn't make sense, even on a recurrent injury, because his return to Liverpool was a recurrence flare-up. The reason that he got taken out is because he felt something in that game when he came back early, right? And I think that's the reoccurring portion of it, unless you've got kind of new info where it's like a small minor tear. But even in that case, that's between 4 to 6 weeks, and it's already been 4 weeks, or it's just 4 weeks since the Liverpool game, since he's been gone. So for me, even in the worst case scenario of having a tear, he's there or thereabouts. So it's not necessarily a reoccurrence unless there's a new major tear, and it doesn't seem like that's been the case. By what we've heard in the training video, again, he was hurt, but also what Mikel is saying, he would have told us if there was a tear because he would have been confirmed out, like period. It's a much longer recovery. So yeah, for me, I think Tommy is back, but I kind of am like you, Willow. I'd love to play the game if he's not back because it's very, very easy to say the lineup if he is there, right? Like we all have him starting 100%.
Well, moving on into the game, it's a tough one away to Wolves. I hate playing Wolves personally. We've not done very well since they've come back. So, CK, I'm going to come to you first, mate. How do you think this game's going to go?
I think we'll do well actually. I don't think we'll struggle like I think a lot of people seem to think. I think do we have one win in the last 6 against Wolves or something like that? So we don't do well against them recently. They lost a lot of thrust off the bench with like Adama going. Jimenez hasn't been the same, and I think it will be more of a midfield battle this game than past games. I think last time we played the Wolves, we dominated them, and I think we'll do it again. But this time, not get the silly red card and end up losing. I think we'll win.
Okay, Karen, what about you, mate? How do you think this game's going to go?
I mean, there's a couple of points. One, what is our best performance in terms of opposing formation? We've always this season we've done well against 3 at the back teams.
Yes,
Villa is a prime example. I think the way, especially with Lacazette in the team, I think you'll have the ability to block their build up. They will be stagnant like it was against Leicester. We'll just go in that formation. I think we'll put him on Neves personally. I don't know if George agrees, but I would personally that we put him on Neves and just put a body on Neves and try and get them. Basically, when they were trying to build up, it's going to slow down, and they're going to have trouble getting out. So, I think that if you look at the lineups that we're going to look at in terms of they don't have Hwang Hee-Chan is not back yet. I mean,
No Pedro Neto.
No Pedro Neto. No one to put it back in the back of the Neto. Doesn't look that big a deal. Coming back for revenge.
Well, they don't have a goal threat. Like, I mean,
No.
fundamentally, like when you're looking at this lineup, I don't know where this notion has come that we aren't good against 3 at the backsides. If anything, we are better against 3 at the backsides. Like I'm finding people on Twitter making these claims that we're not Spurs, Leicester, Aston Villa in very quick succession. We've been very, very good. And by the way, there's a reason why we're better against back 3 teams than we are back 4. And that's because the way that we press in terms of our kind of 3-2-2-3 press is much better against 3 at the back because it gives you a numerical superiority deep. And so what I mean by that is when you've got a 3 at the back and you're basically pressing in the 3, but you've got the 2 behind them that step up, you've got 5 against 4 all the time. And that's why we use that pressing structure against back 3 teams. And the biggest tactical tweaks that we're going to really have is that when you've got those outside center backs that are going to have to meet the ball because they've got Semedo that is going to bomb on. And who's their left wing back again?
They've got
left wing back.
They've got that Elton.
Who, Chris?
They either play Ait Nori or Johnny.
It'll be Johnny,
right.
I think.
So it's going to be one of those 2, right? But the biggest thing is their outside center backs, and Connor Cody loves to bite. He is Maguire light in a sense where this guy loves to be aggressive, but he has no awareness in terms of backline runners. And so for me, their only real outlets are going to be Trincao and Podence. And right now, Trincao has been horrific form. It's really what they've used Traore to come on and to fix. But again, Martinelli and Saka are going to be very, very key in attacking their third center back, those outside center backs. Like that press is going to be very, very key. And I do agree with Kerr. And I think Lacazette is going to sit on Neves. But again, they do have, João Moutinho, who's going to be very, very good and another option between the lines. But for me, the biggest player that's very, very key is Emile Smith-Rowe. We were talking about this off stream. So when you've got a space in that corridor between the wing back and the third center back, who is the best person to change tempo and pace in our team doing that? That's Emile Smith-Rowe. So for me, I would have started him. Evidently, I think, Mikel always works back people into the starting 11 if you've been out. That's, Odegaard regardless, of form and player. But for me, he's going to be very key to come back in. We're going to be screaming for him in the second half, I think. But all in all, I think it's a very good time to face Wolves because of their injuries. Because, Neto and, Chan Lee, is very good for me. I don't think Jimenez is really in form. And so they're going to need something off the bench to spark them. And they just don't have it. They've lost their thrust. They're very defensively secure and organized. Of course, Bruno Lage hasn't conceded very many goals. This is at the Molineux, very, very specific. But again, I would also point to what the Shakarte, offer you in terms of our goals. And regardless, that benefit is going to outweigh the tactical benefits that we see. So, ultimately, I'm really excited. I think it's going to be a very easy game. I'll be honest with you, maybe counter to what people think. I think that the back three is a very big benefit to us. I think they don't have pace and an outlet. If it's the reverse fixture, we're going to have a different conversation on that preview because, Pedro Neto is a factor. Absolutely. Even half fit, that boy is an excellent outlet, and just his presence alone changes things. But again, without Chan Lee to offer a plan B again, who I think gives them a little bit more of a physical option, Wolves really don't have a way of changing the game. It's not going their way. And
they've lost Adama as well. In terms of like a off the bench option, you do have. I don't think he's a final an output threat, but he isn't a threat to in transition.
He's a ball progressor, right?
He's a ball progressor, exactly.
He's an outlet of getting things from point A to B. And right now, with who we have, even with Tommy not necessarily fit 100% of the time, we'll be camped out in their half, and they don't have the outlet to hurt us. That's the thing. So,
that's why I mentioned Adama, because they need an outlet. In terms of, I do want to answer much here. First of all, Tezzy, appreciated. Thank you so much for our first super chat, as well as yours. Very much appreciated. But I'm going to answer Mush's question here. For me, I feel like Wolves have a very structured build-up. It's like they do have a very structured way of getting the ball to the halfway line and maybe a bit further. But for me, I feel like they don't have the ability to translate from the second third to the final third. And what we will be able to do is we have Xhaka who will add his final third entries. We'll have a second ball winner in Xhaka as well. We'll be able to win back not only balls in the final third, but in the second third as well, and make sure that we can keep the pressure on, sustain the pressure. Make sure that you have basically both sides of the pivot being balanced, basically. And that has been our major downfall this season. It's not having the balance in the pivot. We have one side that's able to do things, but you do not have the other side. And it just the spacing hasn't been right at times, and how we progress the ball hasn't been right at times. And in winning second balls, I think that's a major thing that Xhaka will bring, because it will allow Partey to go a bit higher up and win second balls as well. And I don't know if we see this like we saw against United, where Xhaka goes a bit higher and Partey comes a bit deeper, but I hope we don't, because I do like the way they row, because I can see Partey going central a bit more and Odegaard being free to, play, maybe get into that right half space and do what he does. Let's see.
I think it'll be more of a. I think it will be quite a difficult game. I think Bruno Lage just took the league by quite surprise this year on how actually good he's been. I don't think anyone anticipated them to be this good.
No,
I think
no one did. And I love Bruno Lage. It's just I just don't think they have what they need to get past us.
They're a very tricky team. They're very hard to beat. They're the 1-0s, aren't they? They're either 1-0 or
hard to beat.
They're hard to beat. It's their outlets, and talking about how they attack is one thing, but they are a very hard team to beat. They're a bit of a upgraded Burnley in their fashion. They're just that nitty gritty. You don't know it's just very difficult to beat them. They're the 1-0ers. They rather win 1-0 or they lose 1-0. That's most of their games this season. It's been 1-0. And I think
is that a little sneaky hint to your prediction?
maybe a little snippet.
Maybe a sneaky little hint there. Okay.
A sneaky little hint. But I think Ruben Neves is like a completely new player under Bruno Lage as well. He's been absolutely quality for them this season. He's been so good for them. But moving on, predicted scores. George, I'm going to go to you first, mate. How do you think this one's going to go?
Man, like I've kind of already said, I'm kind of against what the boys are saying. I think it's going to be a pretty easy game. It's going to be a 3-1 in my opinion. I think the big issues with Wolves right now is they are structurally sound. They are deep. They do well to build up play. But a big part of their play is having those outlets that can get the ball, but also work it in the middle for them to take advantage. And unfortunately, they just don't have that thrust. Podence and, of course, Trincao are just not enough. They do need more of a physical presence to disrupt. And I think with our first choice pivot back, we're going to really control that middle. And really, it's going to be Ruben Neves, against Xhaka and Partey, which I really don't think is going to be good for them, really. What's really nice is we do have to watch out for João Moutinho. I think he's going to be a secondary option that's going to have to drop deep. We're going to see kind of the Man City effect of some of their midfielders have to really drop to kind of help progress play, because we're going to try to camp them in their own half. But once again, I think that space behind the fullbacks is something that we thrive against. This 3 at the back. Martinelli and Saka are going to have really, really good games. I see goals from them, but I also see a goal from Emile Smith-Rowe coming on later in the game to really change the tempo. I see a 3-1 win to the Arsenal.
3-1 win to the Arsenal. Curran, what about you, mate? How are you see it going?
I don't see them scoring personally. I have it 2-0 to us. I think we win. I feel like we win our second balls, and that's what keeps them pinned, basically. And I don't really see. I mean, obviously, anything can happen in a game of football, and a crazy incident could happen or something. But if the game goes how I'm thinking in my head it will go, I don't really see us conceding, especially if Tommy starts. For me, it's 2. And the main point I want to mention before I do hand off to CK is watch. I'm going to ask everyone in the comments right now. Watch the positioning of Xhaka and watch the positioning of Partey, because I want you to see how they understand spacing and how to position themselves in the pivot. Keep the distances short, keep the space occupied, and that's you're going to see a complete pivot tomorrow. And I think that's the best point of where I think we're going to win this game.
Okay, nice. CK, mate, how do you think it's going to go? Predicted and scores?
Well, obviously, I was feeling a 3 or 4-1, but first game back, so I need some caution. So I'm going for a 2-1. I'm confident we win and dominate the game, but I just have a feeling first game back, some of these players, their first game in months. So I think there'll probably be like a very poor goal to concede, and then we concede that. But comfortable win nonetheless. So yeah, 2-1, but it'll be comfortable.
2-1 comfortable. See, I'm going 1-0. 1-0 to the Arsenal. As I said, I gave a bit of a snippet earlier. I think Wolves have been typical with that this season. I think, as George, Curran, you've all said earlier, they don't really have that much outlets. I don't think they're going to have a lot of attacks. I think it is mostly going to be us. But Sarr has the best save percentage in the league. He's been incredible in goal this season, one of the signings of the season. So I just think this guy has been really hard to beat this season in goal. So I just think it's going to be a really difficult game to actually beating him. So I'm going.
It is kind of like, when you think about it, mate, it's kind of like the rhetoric of the unknown keepers between the two of them, right? Like Jose Sarr, even Ramsdale themselves, they didn't come into the league with, high expectations. But when you look at it, they both are people with among the top save percentages in the top 5 leagues in Europe, which is, immense. My only thing is I actually don't really love the way that, Jose Sarr spills second balls. That's my thing. I think he's been really good at claiming crosses. I think he's been really good from a distribution standpoint. Not really good, but effective. But the one thing that he does struggle with is going to be shots in spilling second balls. And I do feel that you're going to get this Martinelli perspective of this guy poaching a goal that's been blocked, or something like that. And I think Bukayo is going to do something. And Emile Smith-Rowe with his new teeth, he's going to come in for a little third. You know, he's getting that superstar treatment, so he's got to cap it off with a goal, right?
Yeah, I think Saka's my scorer as well. I think he's just been unbelievable recently, and I just think he's going to
Saka
carry
did
on
get some
that form.
superstar treatment yesterday.
Yeah,
Yes.
bro, I'm trying to coin it. He is the franchise, and I will not. I'm not going to rest on this. And
and you know what? I'll be honest, guys. Like a lot of people are saying, in the sense that it's been almost a month, and so that'll affect fitness. For me, that's going to be
not
huge.
fitness.
For
me, it wasn't fitness.
Well, maybe it's not for you specifically, but a lot of people are worried about fitness. It's not even that for me. Like a big thing is, I think Bukayo and our big players needed this rest. They needed this kind of second preseason to really get up to speed. And, again, an Emile Smith-Rowe in form is among our most important players. If you want to do simple correlation, let's look back over the last year. Who is the most important for our win percentage? It's Emile Smith-Rowe. And getting him back into the fold is going to be absolutely massive for what we can achieve. And I really think that, this is the one time that, the idea that, Arsenal can make up on their rivals' challenge impossible isn't going to be, a big, issue. I think right now when you look between Arsenal and Wolves, a big thing that Bruno Lage has done is going to be that central compactness. But there's a big but. The wing backs of Wolves aren't the greatest, and their outside center backs are even worse in terms of meeting the play. And what is Arsenal absolutely amazing at? Forgetting the fact that we're really good against three at the back teams, it's our use of the half spaces. It's our use out wide. It's going to fit in. They're a very good opponent for us without that danger of Traore, even Chan Lee, Pedro Neto. Like those are their big outlets that really caused us issues in previous games. In fact, if you've looked at it, we've actually been amazing since Wolves. Really, the only issues that we've had are weird red cards, weird outlet play when they hit us on the counter, and they don't have their counter threats. So logic dictates for me, it's going to be a fairly routine win. They're a great team for us to face, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think Saka's had a lot of his best games actually against Wolves. I think he's been incredible. Like the goals he scored, he even had that disallowed goal he scored. He always scores like his best goals, I think, against Wolves. That volley, bloody hell! I think he put that. Him and Ramsdale done a video of his top 5 goals.
The cross in the box, right?
Yeah, he put that as his number 1 goal because of the technique on it. He's always incredible against Wolves.
Mate, it's because their center backs are slow to meet out with their fullbacks. That is going to be the play. And we fundamentally just in our team, look, we don't have tons of goal threats. I think we do spread our goals, but our goal threat comes from the wings and those half space. Well. And that is in fact is Wolves' weakness. So for me, it's going to be a fairly routine win. And I think it's really nice that Bruno Lage, for us, just mentally, to come back to a team that's going to sit in. Like, I would be worried a little bit more if we were facing a Southampton, a Palace, a running team that likes to take games to people. That would leave me a little bit wary a month out. In fact, I love teams that want to sit in. And, Willow, when you talk about the Burnley, the issue for me with Burnley was no midfield. And it's like when you've got a team that likes to sit in, Arsenal are actually very, very good at low block teams, and not even just low block teams, but 3 at the back teams. So yeah, mate, like I think just all in all, it's a perfect cocktail. Nothing to say that Bruno Lage isn't good or Wolves aren't good, but for us, stylistically, they're a team that really match up quite a bit. And in fact, they're almost Spurs light in terms of stylistic matchups when you really, really think about it. I actually think Bruno Lage has a better build-up, but they're Spurs light. I have to throw in my Spurs dig. But yeah, mate, really, really good.
Any final thoughts, boys, before we end off?
Not really. The one thing I'm going to say is thank God football is back. Thank God. Yeah. I hate international break Twitter. I hate it so much. Like, I remember the last one, it was like, who's better, Drogba or Henry? Like, shut up, man. No one cares. One,
every single break, that question comes up.
Oh my God. Like, legit, it does my head in. But yeah, in terms of the game, look, the one thing I do remember is I remember Sky Bet did a survey. I don't know if you guys remember this. Sky Bet did a survey of who do you think the best manager in the league is, and AFTV I think posted it. And the bottom 2 were Mikel Arteta and Bruno Lage. Steve Bruce was above Arteta, for God's sake. Like, I just want to say, So maybe fans don't know as much as we think we do at times.
The
Maybe it's a
narrative
bit-
dictates analysis
Yeah.
in today's
This is the
game,
thing.
unfortunately. So
Yeah.
it's not. I don't not expect it. But yeah, I mean, like I really just think when you look at it, this game is a good game to show our worth. Again, rivals looking like they're dropping points. Knocking on my wood here, but things stand with Spurs. That's 1-1, both draws in terms of top 4 rivals, and you do good to put distance between Wolves because they are pretty close to us in the table, right? So it could be more than just a 6-pointer. This is the type of game that we do have to rise to mentally, and it is a question mark. I do think it's going to be easy, but I will say the pressure is different. Chasing than it is being the favorites, right? Like I think you're in control of your destiny, and these are things that we do have to just, in the slogan of Nike, just do it.
But by the way, I'm just going to ask a question. I'm just curious. Does anyone here not think we're favorites for top 4?
Well, no one here, but I mean, I think. Well, actually, no, Willie, you were slightly.
Look, I'm still pessimistic.
I know you are, but
anytime I get
who gives us
confident,
the
we
better
end up
chance?
losing top 4. So I don't like doing this. But I'm not going to dispute that I don't think we're favourites.
No, but is there a team where you're like, okay, I'm worried?
I'm not worried. It's just Spurs and their shithouseness. Sorry, of just Conte and what they do. Damn it. They're just like that. I don't know. I don't know.
Look, mate, you're doing the fan thing, and you're
I'm
worrying for good
yeah.
reason.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. I know CK is confident. CK, you still think we get 3rd?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah? Yeah. Okay.
You know what's really funny about Chris, really quickly, before we sign off, lads, when you notice is when he doesn't fully believe it, he squints. When he's smiling, it becomes more squinty.
He actually does.
When he's very confident, he does. Watch him. He goes, "I'm telling you this," and he leans into the camera. But he's not so. He's like,
I can't help squint. I don't know what
George is a psychologist.
No, but he's right. You actually do.
Wow.
I can't help it. Anyways, we're gonna get top 3, but anyways, leave me alone, innit?
Leave me alone.
One more as well. Final thank you for the 1,000 followers and subscribers. Thank you so much for that. Thank you for our first super chat as well. And I'll leave it to George to sign us off.
Yeah, boys, honestly, I'm just going to echo those real big thank yous. And special mention, to Tezzy. Thank you, mate, being our first, super chat. It is open, lads. So, if you do feel like, you got some value from the vid and you want to let us know, we'd love that. But even if you want to just comment, like, subscribe, make sure that you share this for everybody. Ball over passion. Again, hope you guys like the visuals. We tried to upgrade some stuff, at the 1K. And, again, memberships are pending. We're still kind of waiting a couple things, but we've got some exciting content for you guys to look forward to. You can find all the boys' socials kind of in the tag. And, of course, you can find us, on Twitter at BoP Footy. And yeah, lads, I can't wait to kind of see you guys, hopefully 3-1, so we can establish that lead at the top of the prediction table.
I'm coming for you.
But yeah, mate, we'll see you guys probably Friday with the review. But yeah, peace, everyone.
You'd even say pure CKK. Anyways, I'm going to say that. It's pure CKK. Follow me. No, it's not. It's not.
It's not. You've gone, mate. You've gone.
I just realized it's not. But yeah, follow Triple H in the top left. The one with
I've got
Triple H. Oh,
Great. Anyways, and follow Z. He's not here.
Yeah, follow Z at Priv Arsenal Z, innit?
Anyways, now we've got to sign off.
Yeah.